So this video was originally going to be a review of Breaking Bad, but to be honest, it feels cheap to just give the show 100% or something, but it feels wrong to give it anything any lower because really, there's nothing I would dare to touch in this show. Of course, nothing is perfect in reality, but some things definitely get close. So instead, I'm not going to rate the show or give it any kind of ranking. I'm just going to talk for a while about all the things I love about the show and why I think it's so special. And I'm not implying that anything I'm saying here is some groundbreaking new take. I'm just here to lay it out on the table and just talk for a while. So what is it that makes Breaking Bad so special? Is it simple as getting a great cast, a great story, great cinematography, blending it all together and just making a masterpiece? Maybe, but there's just something about Breaking Bad that puts it leagues ahead of any other show out there. In my opinion, that's in part because of the existential overtones of Breaking Bad. Truly, this isn't just some show about drug dealers or crime or chemistry. On the surface, it's all those things, but as stated in its very first episode, Breaking Bad is really about change. The change that all characters undergo in this show is truly indescribable, such as that most people forget that almost the entire show takes place over just 1 year. Walter White's transformation winds up with him essentially being a completely different human by the end. This is of course aided by Bryan Cranston's both physical changes and world-class acting. The same goes for Jesse, who is nearly unrecognisable from the first episode to the events of El Camino. Truth be told, Heisenberg's transformation is one of empowerment. Although he is a villain, from his own perspective, Walter only improves in the show, using tragedy as a catalyst to become the man he perhaps always desired to be deep down. From beginning to end, it could be argued that things only get better for Walter as time progresses, as even the low moments and the unbearable stress contribute to the lifestyle that made him feel, in his own words, alive. So the true tragedy of Breaking Bad doesn't come from Walter. That's a story of empowerment. The tragedy therefore lies in the trail of carnage that Walter leaves behind on his rise to self-actualization. In a way, that is also where the story lies. In the ruins of the once peaceful lives of those unfortunate enough to be on Walt's path of destruction. The prime example being Jesse. Jesse's change, in contrast, is one of pure tragedy. Although traditionally speaking, Jesse begins the story with real no societal value, no education or job, a criminal destined for nothing. He seems by all means happy. Throughout the show, Jesse only loses. Anything he does gain, he loses and falls twice as far as he climbed. The show does such a great job of making Jesse lovable and sympathetic, meaning, in my opinion, he's the vessel through which we actually feel the show. If something bad happens to Walt, we can handle that. He put himself in that situation. But the show doesn't let you off that easy. Walt has to drag someone down with him. And although Jesse was always complicit, there's just enough mind games going on from Walt to make it feel as if Jesse is partially a victim. Although a tragedy, Jesse's transformation is in truth also an amazing thing to watch. You see some average guy who wasn't destined for much unveil every bit of potential he has in him for something great. In many ways, Jesse is better off by the end of Breaking Bad, as he's intelligent, he's lived one hell of a life and achieved things that would never have been possible without Walt. This raises a deep philosophical question. Was what Jesse went through worth it? Is an incalculable amount of suffering worth going through if we're promised to come out the other end the best possible version of ourselves? Of course, most Breaking Bad fans already know that Jesse was originally supposed to die in Season 1, but in my opinion, Jesse is the beating heart of Breaking Bad, and without him the show would never have become what it was. Hank Schrader is often labelled as a hero in a villain's world, another example of tragedy caused by Walter, as he starts the show as nothing more than a good man, a DEA agent who loves his wife and is good at his job. Throughout the show, we see Hank start to lose his humour and his charm as he is mentally defeated by the acts of this Heisenberg. Losing use of his legs, causing problems in his marriage, and deep psychological torment. Many shows have used the trope of a close family member or friend investigator. Breaking Bad wasn't even the first to do it, but it was certainly the best to do it. The sense of betrayal Hank feels when he uncovers the whole story is 5 seasons of anticipation well paid off. But beyond the pain of the discovery, there's also some sense of relief. Like, the puzzle finally makes sense, and we actually see Hank start to improve his life after making the discovery. Of course, only making his death even more of a tragedy. I'd be wrong not to mention other great characters in this show, like Gus, Mike, Saul, and Hector, All great characters with great stories, developed both in Breaking Bad and more in Better Call Saul, which is maybe a topic for another video. But for now, I'll just say this. Gus was the perfect foil for Walter during Season 4. An iconic TV villain that could inspire chills at times. Gus's story was almost a tragedy in its own right, as his mission for revenge for his fallen partner inevitably was the thing that got him killed. A prime example of Walt playing dirty and picking on people's weaknesses. But there is moral ambiguity in this part of the story, as at times Walt and Gus seem as bad as each other. I love this, as it creates a different viewing experience every time if you consider events from different characters' perspectives. There's so much complexity beneath the surface in these seasons. And Breaking Bad just goes above and beyond here, as even its side characters are so amazing that they could just be main characters of their own show. It just doesn't cheap out on side characters like some other shows do. Every character is a potential favourite. Truth be told, I love that Breaking Bad is about blue meth, dirty lawyers, and psychotic drug dealers. But it could just as easily be a show about white-collar crime, heists, weapons manufacturers, or any other immoral act. The true beauty of the show resides in the change that we see happening before our eyes. The idea of what it might take to reach one's true potential, and moral questions of what people might truly have deep inside of them. Breaking Bad is powerful even in its ability to demonstrate this in the viewer themselves. The show will have you rooting for a serial killer drug dealer, while their actions are breaking down a good man in front of your own eyes. Walter will go to insane lengths throughout the show to get whatever he wants, and somehow, even after we see his actions kill Hank, there's still just a little demon on every viewer's shoulder rooting for him at every step. Breaking Bad's ending might be controversial to some people, but for me it's truly great. The entire finale is a masterpiece, and one of the show's best episodes in my opinion. We see Walter now at an irredeemable point, where he's got Hank killed, betrayed Jesse, lost his family, and killed countless. It should be at this point that we begin to prey on his downfall, but the show won't even give you that. Somehow they turn the tables one final time by putting Walt in a seemingly hopeless situation, with Jesse's life on the line in the hands of nothing other than a group of neo-Nazis. The show uses the most despicable and villainous group it could possibly think of to make Walter seem in comparison the favourable choice. After torturing Jesse, an now beloved, sympathetic character, we once again cheer for Walter as he takes down the Nazis and spares Jesse's life. This gives Walter, despite everything, some grounds for a happy ending of sorts, as he ties up all the loose ends, and it's clear Walt got everything he wanted. And although he dies, this ending is truly a happy one for Walter. The show is just unbelievably special to me, and I wanted to share my feelings about it, so thanks for listening to me rant on for a while. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.